Hello, my name is Olena, and in this video I would like to show you how to process streaming data with Apache Flink and a large language model. In my case, it will be GPT 3.5 Turbo from OpenAI. We'll package our program into a jar file and submit it through command line interface into Apache Flink. And the idea is that for every object that goes through our pipeline, we will make a request to a large language model to get some additional information on the data that we have. And you can use it for numerous things, from getting sentiment analysis to clarifying a category of an object, or maybe checking if text contains some inappropriate language, and so on. To make this experiment brief, I will just put some words into a dataset, and then I will ask OpenAI model to tell me a joke which contains those words. This, admittedly, not exceptionally applicable to the real-world use cases. However, my goal is to show you the API call itself and how exactly we can package the jar and then run it with Flink. And I already have a Flink installed locally on my machine, and you can get all the instructions from this URL, and all the materials I will be putting in the link below. There you will find the GitHub repository for this small experiment. And here, after you will download and run your cluster, then we can even submit a small test job to Flink, to our Flink cluster, to make sure that everything works as expected. And we send the jar to the Flink execution environment, and it will create a job and submit the job. And we can verify what was output by running by checking this file. So everything works as expected. Now let's dive in and create our own jar file, our own package, and the logic to connect to OpenAI. So over here, I created a very simple project, nothing really special here. I just renamed this into AI jobs file, and also I added some dependencies. I don't want to waste a lot of time on going through the dependencies. You can check what I have here exactly by checking the file from the GitHub repository. But our focus will be just on modifying the AI job file. So I guess I don't really need this. And over here, in the main part, we will write our Flink program. The structure of the Flink program is quite straightforward, and we can split it into several stages for our particular use case. So we would like first to create an execution environment. Then we need to define the input data source, where exactly we are taking the data, then the transformation logic, or what exactly we are going to do for each of those records which we are going to get. Then we need to set the destination of the transformed data, or how exactly we are going to output it, or maybe to move to some other source, and finally initiate the program execution. So let's do it step by step, starting by creating the execution environment. I'm going to use the stream execution environment class here, and it will give us the playground with the access to all the transformations and all the sources which we will need. Next, we need to create an input stream. It will be a data stream of objects of type string. And here I would like to keep it simple. This might be where you're taking your data from Apache Kafka topic or any other source, but for now we will just define explicitly several items which we would like to process. So I would say environment, and then from the elements, and over here we can define as many elements as we would like to. Oh wait, I forgot the name. It will be our test stream. And here again, like we want to send the data to the large language model and ask, could you tell us a joke using these words? So how about we will put something like cat, mouse, squirrel, I don't know, or maybe something else. Let's do it something like computer. See what it will comes up with. And the second object can be something like squirrel. Squirrel. Did I misspell that? Obviously. Yes. And that's it. Let's try with those values first. Next, we need to define the output stream, so the processing stream. This will be again the data stream of the string values, because this is what I'm expecting to get from OpenAI. And over here, we will define the logic, how to transform the data. But for now, let's just, for the sake of experiment, to run the code and to see that we indeed can submit this package to Flink through the command line and then get some response. Let's just put that we want just to output the test stream the data and without any transformations. And finally, or actually not finally, we need still to do something with the data to kind of visualize it, or in case if you are working with Apache Kafka, you might want to transport, this is the case, to connect to Kafka and transport it back, or for us, we will just print out the data in the same manner how the example from Apache Flink was run in our word count application. So output data, and here I will take our results stream and I will say print, please. And finally, we need to execute the program. And here we will just say environment, execute. And we can provide here a name or kind of like a label for that. And we can say, okay, this is Flink plus OpenAI. And it complains about something, let's check. Okay, we need to add the exception over here. And I think we are good to go. So let me open, if I remember how, a terminal. Over here I will run the command mvn clean package. And this will create us a jar file, if of course I didn't make any typos or exception. So let's just check what we got. And we have now a target folder, and in the target folder we have AI job jar. And this is exactly the jar which we would like to submit to the Flink. So I will just copy the full path to that jar, and I will clean this. And I will do similarly to how we will send in that jar from examples. I will just copy our jar instead. And we can execute this and see if we get any errors. And now we can output the result. It gave us more or less what we provided: cat, mouse, and computer, and squirrel. Good, so that works. Now let's create a class which will help us to make requests to OpenAI API. And for this we are going to rely on the async function interface, which is designed to actually send those asynchronous functions to different types of sources. So let me create a new class. Here we are implementing async function and we are overriding the method async invoke. And over here the result future, this is the object where the future response will be put into. So this is exactly how we are managing to execute some kind of a call asynchronously. So we need to populate this with the code that will make a post request to OpenAI API to generate our text, whatever we expect from OpenAI, using the Java HTTP client. So we will set up the connection, send the payload, read and process the responses, and handle the exceptions. This is pretty boring part of the whole demo. So let me just copy paste the code which I already wrote, and then we just can look at it and correct the necessary pieces. Okay, so this is what we need in the async invoke function. Here we provide the URL where we are going to send the request to OpenAI. This is the one for chat completions. Then you need to specify your OpenAI key over here so that OpenAI will allow you to make that request. The important part for the request is the payload string. This is exactly will be the part of the post request where we will specify to the large language model what exactly we want from it and what to do with the data that we entered. So the input data that will be the iteration of the objects or whatever we put there for the joke. Let's look at it in a second. The rest of the function is just defining that connection, sending that connection and getting the response back. Here I'm using quite a minimalistic approach with minimum external libraries. You can totally replace all of this into a more simple way of sending those requests if you want to. So, but now let's pay attention to the generate prompt function, because I think this is the most interesting part of this demo. This is the place where we are going to specify which model we want to use. And also we would like to provide two types of instructions. The first one will be a system message. This is used to configure the AI's behavior and provide with a general context. And the second one is the user message, which represents the actual user input that the AI, in our case OpenAI model, needs to respond to. And to create this JSON object in Java, I'm going to use JSON library. So here I specify that we would like to use GPT 3.5 Turbo, that the system message is that our model is very smart and very funny AI bot, and also we request a joke about some input value. And with this we send that data we converted into string, and it will be added into the post request. So I can clean this, so generate prompt. And finally, we need to use our async invoke function, or actually the async HTTP request function class within the processing functionality. So here, instead of the test stream, we are going to use the async data stream and the unordered wait function. And this is a method which is provided by Apache Flink to handle asynchronous operations. So an unordered wait method processes elements in a stream asynchronously and completes them out of order. For us, the order doesn't really matter in this case. And here we have several parameters which we need to add. So among them will be the input data which we want to process. Then the instance of the class which implements the async function. So for us, it will be the async HTTP request function, which we just wrote, which handles the request to OpenAI API. Then we will specify the timeout. Let's put it like 10 seconds in case the OpenAI API doesn't reply within the time. Then we consider the request to be failed. We need to specify the time units. That will be milliseconds. And finally, we will provide the concurrency or the capacity as how many jobs can be run or how many items can be processed at the same time. So if we run this, and unless I made some typos, which is very, very probable, but let's see, then our package should be created, but let's see if we will have any errors. No, okay, I said it too quick. Let's see what we have. Build failed to see the full stack, expected, okay, so some typos. Oh yeah, forgot this one. Cool, let's try again. Good, so we're supposed to have that package being created, so let's run again it with the Flink, within the Flink job. So the job has been submitted. Oh, it will fail. Good, I know why it failed, because in this experimental code snippet I didn't enter my OpenAI key. Let me fix that. And let me try again. So let's clean it. Now let's run it. And I'm crossing my fingers that it will not fail this time. I mean, what are the chances that it will not fail? So sad, so sad. Let me find the error this time. I think I found it. So message rate, add, and then we need to add the system message over here. Now let's run the file again, the job again. And let's go to that output file and see what we have. So, why did the cat sit on the computer mouse? Because it wanted to keep an eye on the cursor. And about the squirrel one, why don't squirrels trust other animals? Because they're always a little nuts. Humor is so subjective. But anyway, we got actually 2 requests which were sent to OpenAI with the data. The first one was cat, mouse, and computer, and the second one was a squirrel. And we got the response which was part of the pipeline. And this is how you can process the streaming data using Apache Flink and a large language model and make an external request to OpenAI API.